providing services principally to civil litigation action or private investigations that are retained by corporate entities, things of that nature. So our involvement on the criminal side is somewhat limited, but I think the reason why they wanted me here today was most of the practice that we get involved with related to computer forensics or cyber investigations has ready applications in this arena as well. I'll throw out a few thoughts. Joe was kind enough to kind of distill some of the web information that I came up with on a handout that you all received. It's entitled Missouri AFCC Lunch and Learn, April 13th, 2011, and it's basically just a litany of web links to currently available software and hardware devices.
It'll make you vomit.
that are out there and available to the general public that can provide people the ability to either innocuously or with malice track and gather information about an individual. These are things that myself and my associates as investigators, sometimes we use these types of tools in our investigations. As a parent of teenagers, sometimes I have adopted some of these just to help my kids stay on the right path with some things they do at home related to Facebook and other things that we've talked about. But it gives you guys an idea of the power of technology that's readily available. Over the period of about 15 years in forensic investigations that I've done, I've seen the application of technology be really only used by individuals that are highly technically skillful. So the investigations that we would get involved with were limited to fairly straightforward, kind of low-tech type of approaches for information collection or stalking and tracking of individuals. But nowadays, with the ready access of smartphones, PCs, multiple PCs in everyone's home, the early schooling our kids receive as far as the use and application of PCs and technology, these types of sophisticated applications are available to just about anybody who can point and click on a computer. So just to give you a general idea of the more common things that we see in use by perhaps people that have nefarious intent, we see principally the cell phone as the primary conduit of tracking and information gathering. Reason being that most cell phone providers these days will allow you to purchase a small fee add-on to your cell account to gather logistics about the cell phone's presence, activity, power on state, things of that nature, so that you can know the whereabouts of the cell phone. Now, of course, most of these tools, of course, were created for the purpose of giving law-abiding, honest people kind of a leg up in handling their technology. But, of course, it could be used the other way, which we see it used by individuals to monitor the whereabouts of cell phones. GPS capabilities are now being integrated into most smartphones. This is an Android platform phone that I have. And the sophistication and pinpoint accuracy of locating these devices is quite high. Even on old technology cell phones, triangulation methods that they use, that you guys have heard law enforcement have used to track people that are thought to be abducted or missing, that technology can be adapted, backward adapted, and readily available to the consumer side as well. The low-tech cell phones offer a good advantage, especially kind of what we call throwdown cell phones in the business, where you guys can walk into Best Buy or other stores and just purchase a cell phone for short duration use. And we encourage individuals that are in contentious situations to think about that as an option versus using their current cell phone, to go in and buy a limited use cell phone, a low-tech, maybe not text enabled, but simply a cell phone communications phone that gives them a short duration window of usage so that they have a means of communicating with people mobily, but the number is not readily circulated to the general public.
And I just want to add something.
Yeah, jump in.
Verizon will have a mechanism that will send a text message to a different phone saying that phone has moved the location. So if you have a victim of domestic violence, getting the throwaway phone is very good. She shouldn't necessarily get rid of the GPS phone, and should take it on those known picking up the kids things, so that he doesn't think that she has a different phone. But if she needs to get away, she leaves that phone or puts it someplace else or sends it with somebody else to protect herself. So she has a way of communicating that he doesn't know about, and so she shouldn't get rid of that phone necessarily if she's trying to leave, but she should utilize it in a way to help protect her, maybe send it off with a friend or leave it at the house. And she should on a regular basis do that, so she creates a pattern of use with that phone that maybe is GPS enabled. Exactly.
So one of the links that you guys see in the tracking device section is an application called Glimpse, and there's another one that's MobiWe, and these are principally designed, or were designed for the smartphone applications. Now, if you guys are, how many Apple, iPhone, or Droid users do we have on the phone, just out of curiosity? So about half of the phone users.
But their clients will have both, so we need to hear both.
Yeah, sure, but I'm just trying
I know
to connect with the audience.
Yeah. No offense taken for all those people who don't have a phone like this.
Sure. No, but the smartphones, you guys have all heard about apps you can download and install. There's typically two varieties of apps. You've got the free app, which isn't really free, and then you've got the pay app. iPhone, recently when the smartphones came out on the platform, the Android smartphones were kind of busted for the fact that iPhone is really bad about gathering information about the user unbeknownst to their knowledge. So iPhone free apps exist on your phone. You think it's wonderful because you get all these free little gadgets you can put on your phone, but the payback is the app developer and Apple get to gather information about you as a user. Now, that information can include the phone calls you're making, where you're making them from, contacts in your database, websites you visit. So they're gathering analytical information about you as a user. That same information can be, skimmed by an individual who installed an app on your phone to keep track of you. So these two applications, MobiWe and Glimpse, are an application that basically gives a text message or a website ping that shows you real time where a person is and what route they're driving. It couples with Google Maps or various mapping software to give you real-time mapping of people's locations and where they're at. So if you have the clients that are smartphone users, there's a lot of things happening in the background on these phones that the user is not aware of. As an example, I downloaded an application for this smartphone that's a text messaging application, and just realized that it has the built-in capability of doing delayed messaging, which can be an advantage. We've talked about this with clients for that decoying type of effect. You can program your phone to send text messages at certain times to certain individuals without your physical interaction with the phone. So you can program the phone to send a series of text messages to different individuals at different times of day, and just leave the phone on and parked, and they'll dispatch messages for you without your involvement with the phone.
And so the person who has prepared that phone is in a highly visible place with lots of witnesses who say, oh, he didn't have his phone with him.
Yeah.
So he couldn't have sent that text message or that email.
Yeah. So there's ways to get around those obvious things as well. You guys have all heard about key logging software, I presume, or the concept of key logging, and also tools that are designed to give people the ability to kind of gather information about your computer that you may be using. Most of these applications are designed to be run in the background, as they say. So the purpose of these tools are stealthy. So when they're downloaded to a PC, they're designed to gather information about the PC's usage, whether it's instant messaging chat on Facebook, which, as you all probably know if you guys are Facebook users, typically the instant messaging aspect of Facebook is not something that's stored as part of the message content on Facebook. That's typical of most instant messaging features. However, there's several software tools that are designed to sit and watch the data stream on the network to collect information about chat on PCs. Now, if you have multiple PCs in a residence, you can install software applications that watch all PCs in a residence. So it'll gather chat from multiple PCs in a residence. You can also configure many of these pieces of software to remotely gather information. So if an individual has access to a home or an apartment where a person may reside, They can get in, they can install the application, they can set the application to remotely report information to a different PC off-site, and that PC will push information without the knowledge of the user to a remote PC off-site. So that individual can get regular email messages or attachments with text message files that show them the activity of the PC. There's also more sophisticated remote access software that gives them the ability to remotely log into the PC. Now, Windows as a platform is designed to support that capability as an operating system.
How many here have the ability to log into your PC to do work from home on your computer at the office?
PC, you're right.
Yeah, I've logged me in. How many of you also do Skype or have video conferencing available on your computer at the office? I can log into my office and turn on my video camera and watch what's going on in my office. That can happen in your home as well.
Yeah.
And there's no way to tell because my screen is blank on my computer because that's the way I have it. So my office, it looks like my computer is off, but that camera is on and I'm watching what's going on. It's very boring because nobody else is in my office.
Now, the new generation of PCs is supposed to be what they call redundant safety. That if you notice, there's typically an LED that's on when the camera's on the computer. So most legitimate software manufacturers are supposed to turn that LED on when the camera is on, so that you as a user know it's on. But the nefarious software designers have gotten around that. So there's ability to turn cameras on without the activity LED being on as well. They can defeat that in some cases.
Talk
So that's
about
also
that
possible.
spoofing for just a second. Is it easy?
Yeah.
Is it